Sometimes when I'm given items to fix, the owners will also hand me spare parts to be installed on the machine thinking it's going to fix it. It amazes me that they barely know how to maintain their machines properly, and yet they seem to know exactly what parts to install to fix it. So if they're so sure that it's going to solve their issues, then why don't they install those parts? The answer might surprise you. In today's video, we're going to look at this Poulan Predator chainsaw, and the problem is that it won't start. Now, I've already made a video about this chainsaw, and if you want to see that video, there should be a link to it at the top of the screen or at the end of the video. And I'm just going to use the video as a background while I talk about why so many people think they can fix a small engine by just throwing parts at it. Now, I'm not picking on any one person because that wouldn't be fair, so we're going to look at this from my own perspective. And for those of you who are following along, it takes more than just loading a parts cannon and lighting a fuse to fix a small engine. Now, this I had to learn the hard way. Over a decade ago, I somehow came across a certain persona on this very platform. Now, the reason I watched their videos was because I found their personality to be very interesting and also very open, at least from what they showed of it. I'm not going to mention that person's name because it's not important to the story, but what was important was that they introduced me to small engines. What they would do would be find discarded items on the curb, take them home and fix them, and eventually sell them. I was absolutely amazed by this process, mainly because it looked so easy, but the truth was it wasn't as easy as they made it look, and I'll tell you why. Now, they were really good about explaining these subtle nuances about what the problem was for each and every machine they came across, and then they did a really good job of explaining how they were going to fix it. But when it came time for me to try and do the same thing, the results weren't always positive. And when you get enough less than positive results, you're going to get discouraged, which is going to very quickly bring down your confidence level. So much so, there's a good chance that your small engine hobby is going to disappear altogether very quickly, which is what almost happened to me. So was there a problem with me, or was there an issue with the lessons I was getting? Not really. Turns out watching a single video isn't going to teach you everything you need to know about fixing stuff, even if the symptoms are exactly the same. Maybe the issue was that I needed to watch more videos instead of just relying on a single video. So I went about watching as many as I could, trying to grasp all the concepts I could, but as you can probably guess, that wasn't as successful as I'd hoped. At this point, you might consider throwing in the towel, which most do, but it's going to take time for you to understand what's going on, and then hopefully you'll start to realize what the issue is. Of course, the alternative is to take it to a small engine shop and have them fix it. Then you can ask them how they fixed it. Now, even if they told you exactly what they did, it still might not make complete sense to you, and that's because you weren't there when they fixed it, and you're just hearing about it secondhand. If you really want to know what happened to it, then you're going to need to get your hands dirty, and I mean that quite literally. Now, I'm the type of person who learns best by doing and not by being told what to do. You might be the other way, where you can pick up concepts by just listening, and if that's you, I envy you. But most of us have to get in there and see how it works up close and personal. However, without any audio commentary, seeing it is simply not enough. The biggest issue I've seen is when someone has shown me what to do, but their explanation is not very clear or well thought out. Now, even though I hear the words, I'm still not sure how the explanation completely relates to the issue. Now, I'm not immune to the same problem. I'll try to explain something the best I can, but that may not be enough to fully convey enough information to whoever's listening. And to be honest, it's no one's fault. The reason is you have to take in all the information you can by listening, seeing, and basically making contact with it if possible. And only then will it make some sense to you. I know it's hard for me to say that, seeing how I make DIYs so viewers can fix equipment, but unfortunately it turns out to be true. So how does this have anything to do with buying all the parts you think you need to fix a machine and how it may not be successful? The answer is wear and tear on the machine you're working on and a good diagnosis. So let's say you have a machine that does not start, or better yet doesn't run the way it's supposed to, and according to many of my videos, I basically tell you to not rebuild the carb, but to instead just replace it because it could save you from a terrible headache. So you go and buy just the carb and install it. Now the machine starts, which is a huge improvement, but it doesn't run at full speed. Well, it turns out you may have to tune that brand new carb, but why? I've seen this situation come up before a few times, and it seems that most were under the impression that the carb was set at the factory and they shouldn't have to do anything to it. So I think when they said it's been set at the factory, I do believe what they meant to say was that the carb is set to a default setting and not that it's been tuned to your specific engine that might have 20 hours on it or 200 hours, and there's just no way of knowing how many hours is on it unless you have a meter on it. Now, if your machine only has 20 hours on it, then I wouldn't think it would have all that much wear on it, so the factory default settings might be good enough to get your machine working pretty much like it should be. But if your machine has a lot more time on it, then the default settings may need to be adjusted to work with your specific engine, and unfortunately, tuning a carb is another skill that's difficult to teach in video and is better understood after some hands-on experience. But what happens if your engine has low hours on it and you replace the entire fuel system? We're talking about the fuel filter, the fuel lines, carb, and even the air filter, but it still has issues. Easy. It means the problem was not part of the fuel system. The problem was either the ignition timing, the engine compression, or there's an air leak at a seal, a gasket, or even an O-ring. So unless you wish to basically rebuild the entire machine, loading the parts cannon and firing it doesn't always work. So how do you keep from buying and installing the wrong parts to have a successful repair? Well, the best answer I can give you is spending a lot of time doing your diagnostic, and yet again, that's a whole other skill that's hard to teach. It takes a long time to figure out the relationship of all the parts and how they work together before you get some understanding of what part might be the issue. This is the part that's going to be a struggle. I know it was for me. For example, I had a good friend who started working on small engines mainly as a hobby. They received a mostly hated upside-down engine on a Poland trimmer. Unfortunately, after throwing a bunch of new parts on it, they were still having issues with it, and after struggling with it for a while, they gave up on it. They eventually decided to give it to me, thinking it was beyond repair. I gladly accepted it and took it home to do an inspection, and I'm pretty sure you can figure out what happened next. Now, they did a pretty good job of replacing all the parts, but there were a few small issues. On this particular engine, the fuel line routing can be very challenging, even for me, and it turns out they had the fuel lines swapped at the purge bulb, which of course is going to make it difficult to start. And after swapping them, the engine did start, but that's when all the real fun begins. As expected, it started and ran, but it wouldn't stay running when squeezing the trigger. That meant the brand new carb needed to be adjusted to work on this particular engine. After playing the tuning game of which one is better, A or B, I was able to get it working better and was quite happy with it. Now, I did tell them what I did to get it working, but like I said earlier, it's just words coming out of my mouth, and the meaning is somewhat lost unless I can show them how to fix it in person. Unfortunately, because everyone learns in different ways, whether that be hands-on or by lecture and reading alone, just assuming that getting a new carb, fuel filter, or spark plug isn't going to guarantee that it's going to work. Now, your chances will be higher by doing it, but it's not a given. And in this case, experience is going to be your best friend. That means the more you fix, and even not fix, the better you're going to be at it. Now, you may be one of those lucky ones who don't ever have any bad experiences with fixing equipment. Maybe you get nothing but fixes that only require bad carbs to be replaced. The problem is that you might get a bit spoiled with easy fixes and never really get your diagnostic juices flowing. Try not to think about what I just said there. But eventually your luck is going to run out and you're going to get a repair that's out of your comfort zone, and when you do, you might find it very challenging. Now, no one ever told me that fixing small engines was going to be easy, so how did I come up with that impression that it was? Turns out I told myself that. From everything I saw online in videos, it looked easy and very rewarding and even fun, but the reality was that it's somewhat challenging, if not a bit confusing, especially if you've never had to deal with something like this before. But to be honest, I like challenges, and that's the best part of doing this kind of hobby. So if you want something that's easy, don't pick this hobby, and certainly be aware that most hobbies aren't going to be as easy as they appear to be. My best advice to you would be to not get discouraged too quickly and keep trying until you've thought it through for a while. So my question is, did you ever think that working on small engines was going to be easy, like I did? Now if you did, I wouldn't blame you. I fell for the advertisements too. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or about your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.